Hi everyone, good afternoon, thanks for your time today. My name's Pete Miller, I'm co-founder of Octopus Energy. We're a technology company. We supply renewable energy to homes and businesses around the UK. We're starting to expand internationally, but I'll get to that in a little bit of a minute. So a couple of vital statistics about us as a business. Over the last 3 years, we have scaled to 725,000 customers, 300 employees, and $1 billion in revenue. That's all based on positive margin pricing, transparent pricing, which is somewhat atypical in the UK energy market. And potentially more importantly than that, our customers love us. So we've got some logos to show that, which is always good. We're particularly proud to be the only energy supplier recommended by Which in the UK for 2 years running, and rated by our customers 5 stars for customer service, which again is not typical for an energy supplier. But to bring it to life, I thought I'd just bring a couple of samples of communication I've got from customers over the last couple of weeks, and just think about your energy supplier and whether you'd communicate with them in the same terms. So we've received a letter from a retiree, a handwritten letter about how human and lovely our customer support team are. About the 12th illustration from this customer who sent it into our customer support team, not shared it on social media or anything like that, just sent it in because he loves the brand so much. And continual stream of tweets, people saying things like, when was the last time you said you loved your energy supplier and actually meant it? Or moving to Octopus Energy is one of the best adult decisions I've ever made. It's something we really pride ourselves on customer service. Today, I want to give you a little bit of a sense of what we do and peel back the lid a little bit on how we do it, but I thought I'd probably start with why we do it. And I think this is the kind of energy future that we've all been promised. It's kind of verdant fields of solar and wind, almost limitless, next to free energy. And I think there's a sense that if we just have the right regulation and some hardworking industry, that we'll just get there. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure that's true. I think global temperatures are still rising. I think CO2 emissions are still rising. And just this week, we've seen fossil fuel use has actually increased over the last 12 months due to the fluctuations in temperature caused by climate change. And I think we need to change the system, and we need to change it quickly. We've talked a little bit about the system today. You've probably heard a bit of this before. But this is kind of the old way that things worked. You have a giant power plant on one end of the country who transmits that electricity all the way across the country. It gets converted to a lower voltage and distributed to homes. And in this model, the customer at the end is just the demand, and there's no way to get them to change their behavior. Every bit of supply, we turn that up and we turn that down based on how much demand that is. And that's fine if you can dig up a few more carbon particles and emit them into the environment. But if you want to use technologies like wind and solar, which are more volatile, it's not such a great model. And so we think the new way is a little bit more like this. You might have those electrons traveling to you across the country, but maybe they're coming from community generation instead. Potentially they're on top of your house, and they're going into a battery or into an electric vehicle, and potentially being traded peer-to-peer with your neighbours in your own local community. And to get to this kind of ecosystem, we're going to need some really smart technology to realise this vision. And so that's kind of what we do at Octopus Energy. We look at the systems that are in place to support the old way, and there's lots of them that are kind of in there to balance supply, inefficiencies and monopolies. And we try and unlock that value and give it back to consumers to encourage them to move to this new dynamic way of living. And we look to do it in the home, on the move, and at work. Let's take a look in the home. So, electricity prices are super volatile. Wholesale prices change every half an hour because we need to balance the grid. When people come home from work, switch on the tally, everybody does the same thing, prices go through the roof. And yet, consumers have always been presented a single fixed price. And so there's been no incentive for them to get involved in trying to balance this supply and demand problem. That's why last year we launched a world-first electricity tariff called Agile Octopus. And what it does is it varies your price every half hour based on what those wholesale prices are doing. So you can go on to the website or through the app and check what your prices are going to be, and you can do the work of shifting your energy use around to avoid those times when electricity prices are really expensive. And in that way, consumers can actually get involved in balancing the grid. One of the interesting quirks, if you like, of this kind of product is that occasionally there's so much supply. Maybe there's loads of wind going into the grid. Maybe there's loads of solar, loads of sun streaming down, a bit like today. The prices actually go negative. And in those instances, our customers will get a little notification on their phone, and they'll know they can actually put the washing on for free and get actually reimbursed for the electricity they're using. It's quite exciting, and there's a wonderful feedback loop. We've seen some charts with people showing what smart meters can do. I think this is another great example of that, where people can see what they're using. People get on an energy bill which literally has a page for every day of the month, which shows their consumption, charted against the price they paid for those kilowatts of electricity. And customers love it. I'm impressed. The half-hourly, day-by-day data on my bill from Octopus Energy is a joy to behold. I've never been this excited to get an energy bill. Wow, that sounds very sad. We think it sounds great. But that's in the home. We're also looking at how we can bring the same kind of technology with dynamic pricing and sending real price signals to people when they're trying to decarbonise their transport. So we've got our electric vehicles team who will help you find the right electric vehicle for you, help you finance it, whether it's leasing or buying it outright, help you set up your charging, and also, of course, sort out a really great value electricity tariff for you. Using the same technology we used to build Agile Octopus, we launched Octopus Go. And this is a slightly different product. It's a little bit more stable, I guess. It's got a fixed price most of the time, and it's got a very super cheap off-peak period. 4 hours, super cheap energy, and that window is time to be perfect for charging your electric vehicle up. Because it's all API driven, there's a lot of smart products from people like My Energy and Omi who can plug into the API, and your car will simply charge at the time that's cheapest for you, unlocking that value without you having to lift a finger. And it goes outside the house as well. We're supplying 100% renewable electricity to people like Lime Bikes and Ionity, which is Europe's fastest EV charging network. And what's exciting about these networks is they can use exactly the same technology where their energy prices are based on what their consumption profile is, and they're incentivized to help flatten out the demand on the grid and not have these crazy peaks which are troublesome to the uptake of renewable energy. We're able to take the same technology and use it for workplaces. We've just launched a tariff specifically aimed at the vertical of vertical farming, the industry of vertical farming, because they have a really unique energy consumption profile, and again, that can unlock value for those customers. We can tailor the energy profiles to enormous scale, so we also supply Emirates Stadium with renewable energy. We've got a battery installed there so they can power their match days with 100% renewable electricity, and they can actually trade solar energy when the match isn't running, so that they can see some value unlocked that way. And what powers this whole revolution? Well, while other energy companies are kind of looking at how they can use technology to perhaps add a little bit of productivity here or a little bit of innovation over there, we, as a tech company, started by building a really big robot. That really big robot we call Kraken, and it's our smart platform that powers our entire business. There's really two major benefits to it. First of all, a huge gain in productivity. We currently have a ratio of 4,500 customers to every frontline support member. That's about 4 or 5-fold increase in productivity over our competitors. That means we get better customer outcomes at a lower cost to serve. So all that customer love is actually cheaper for us to provide than anyone else. The second thing it does is it has been born to support the new way. It is born smart, scalable infrastructure, API-driven. It's already ingested 30 billion rows of consumption data and is completely machine learning friendly. So we can do the hard work of working out that those electrons, should they go into my battery, into my electric vehicle, into my home, or back into the grid? And that can actually start to enable that new way that we've been looking at. When we look at the opportunity, we are quite excited by this. So today, 3 of the top 4 energy brands in the UK, based on customer reviews on Trustpilot, are running the Kraken system. We've just announced a partnership with Hanwha, the world's largest producer of solar panels, to launch a next-generation energy supplier in Australia. And they're really excited by the opportunity. That's going to be based on the Kraken platform. And we think the potential for global scale is really exciting. Today, energy is a $2.5 trillion sector. We expect that to double as we decarbonize heat and we decarbonize transport. Today, 80% plus of those transactions are going through platforms that are 2 decades old, and the rest are at least 10 years old. They're systems built for the old way and not the new way, and we believe our system is best fit, best in class for the new way. And that is Octopus Energy. Thank you very much.